Welcome to part 3 of my Luke Skywalker Character Analysis. If you haven't seen part 1 or 2 yet, then I highly encourage you to do so. I'll throw up the title card and place a link in the description to it. In today's video, I'll continue my case for Luke as the greatest Star Wars character, looking at his role in episode 6. So without further ado, let's get into it. At the start of the Return of the Jedi, Luke is shown to have a more calm presence that the galaxy needs. He's clearly learned from his failures and has chosen to use it as a means to grow as a person. The film begins on Tatooine for our hero, and with Luke returning to his home planet, we get to see Luke in the same environment as he once was at the start of his journey. It's through this that we get to more clearly see how much he's grown. As the last time he was here, he was adventurous to the point that he was wide-eyed, naive, impulsive, and impatient. But now he's calm, decisive, mature, and stoic. Luke and the team embark on their mission to rescue Han, but the vile gangster, Jabba the Hutt, stands in their way.
If I told you half the things I've heard about this Jabba the Hutt, you'd probably short-circuit.
In the plan to save Han, we see the intentional effort to attempt to reach a peaceful agreement before violence.
I'm sure that we can work out an arrangement which will be mutually beneficial and enable us to avoid any unpleasant confrontation. As a token of my goodwill, I present to you a gift, these 2 droids.
What did he say?
He knows that it's unlikely that Jabba will take this offer, but Luke understands that he must give him a chance to make the right choice.
I know that you are powerful, mighty Jabba, and that your anger with Solo must be equally powerful. I seek an audience with your greatness to bargain for Solo's life.
Luke also rightfully gives Jabba various compliments throughout the proposition, understanding that Jabba has a big ego, so the art of negotiation would suggest to exploit it.
Greetings, Exalted One. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight and friend to Captain Solo.
Also, Luke straight up crowned himself a Jedi, but really, this shows the strides he's made, as he's confident, not waiting to be told if he is one or not. Rather, owning up to it and acting the part. Luke's presence also gives off the vibe that a Jedi should, one that does not let their emotions get the better of them. Rather, they control their emotion and use it for something good.
He's no Jedi.
Right on schedule. It's appropriate that this would be brought up early in the story, as this is one of the driving themes of the film, whether or not Luke is worthy of being anointed the title of Jedi, as it transcends that of just any hero, as only then will his arc truly be complete. Luke's already self-proclaimed the role, but what's also important is what others around him think, as we'll see a similar reoccurring expression of doubt in Luke's friends, enemies, and mentors even.
What could possibly have come over Master Luke? Is it something I did? I never expressed any unhappiness with my work.
Luke probably could have told 3PO more of his plan, but then again, his raw reaction really sells it. Plus, it's just funny. At least he did tell Chewie though, who optimistically has more faith in Luke than Han.
Luke's crazy. He can't even take care of himself, much less rescue anybody.
In fairness though, Han is just keeping it real about his friend. Of course, Han is basing this off of the Luke that he last saw. The one at the beginning of Empire that had not learned from his failures yet. One that, like Han estimates, would have trouble saving others. But now he's not so crazy, and has a plan to save his friend from this prison.
A Jedi Knight? I'm out of it for a little while. Everybody gets delusions of grandeur.
Shortly after, Luke would arrive and the team and the audience alike would get to see if these were truly delusions of grandeur, or something closer to the truth. Luke enters the palace and we see him as a shadowy figure at the end of the hall, as appropriately our hero is the one thing we see emerging from the light. However, just like his story, metaphorically he enters and walks closer and closer to the darkness. While he's at his closest to a Jedi here, he's also his closest to a Sith, as his great power has given him a great responsibility, and he teeters on both sides. We see this idea of Luke waning closer to the dark side in his first action, as he skips all formalities and negotiation and pulls a trick right out of his father's book, by choking the Gamorrean guards.
You will take me to Jabba now.
It'll talk about Jabba now.
You serve your master well, and you will be rewarded.
Luckily though, we get to see the direct contrast from his previous act, as he immediately follows it up by pulling a play out of Obi-Wan's book and the Jedi mind trick. The fact that Luke uses Obi-Wan and Anakin's signature moves in a row is no coincidence, as they're his father figure and biological father respectively, representing both sides of the Force and, more importantly to Luke, the two paths that he could take as his journey nears its end. Luke is also in his darkest clothes yet to represent this, as Luke is at his closest to the dark side, something that comes full circle in the movie's climax.
You will bring Captain Solo and the Wookiee to me.
Luke is more confident than ever, being the stoic leader the team needs as he is their last hope to everyone making it out alive. He tried to bargain and knows that Jabba cannot be reasoned with, so he chooses to make commands rather than ask for permission.
I'm taking Captain Solo and his friends. You can either profit by this or be destroyed. It's your choice, but I warn you not to underestimate my power.
Luke gives Jabba one final ultimatum. In Jabba's eyes, he's not really in a position to be making threats, but we as the audience know that Luke is more than meets the eye. This only further builds up the moment when Luke can unleash and show off his Jedi powers to the fullest. He may not know it now, but Jabba has sealed his own fate. Luke attempts to kill Jabba, but fails to do so and falls to the Rancor's pit. Also, the way Luke can confidently call the blaster is just a reminder of how powerful he has become, as it's by far the fastest and most in control we've seen him call a weapon, something he struggled with at the beginning of Empire. As Luke fights the Rancor, we get to see just how much of a threat he poses, even without needing his weapons, showing how far he's come since the cave on Dagobah. The fight also shows Luke's great intuition, creativity, and ability to not panic and think on his feet as well, as he stays calm under pressure. Once Luke defeats the Rancor, the team is reunited one final time before their execution.
Are you alright?
Fine. Together again, huh?
Wouldn't miss it.
How we doing?
Same as always.
That bad, huh?
You should have bargained, Jabba. This is the last mistake you'll ever make.
Luke doubles down knowing what's about to happen, confident in his choice with no regrets, even when others doubted him.
Instead of a big dark blur, I see a big light blur.
There's nothing to see. I used to live here, you know.
You're gonna die here, you know. Convenient.
Luke's return to Tatooine again shows how far he's come. We're reminded again of his humble beginnings and how he didn't care for the life of a farmer. The fact that he believes there's nothing to see there shows that he doesn't reminisce fondly of the planet, as all he ever wanted was to get out of there and go on an adventure. Ironically enough, he's back there now where it all began, on an adventure of his own, showing the galaxy that he's become the hero he always dreamed of.
Just stick close to Chewie and Lando. I'm taking care of everything.
Oh, great.
Luke again has a calm confidence, if only it would convince Han. He shows great leadership as he's willing to step up and put the team on his back, taking point and control during the dire situation that they're in.
Jabba, this is your last chance. Free us or die.
Luke the Honorable gives Jabba one last chance. Jabba refuses, and this gives Luke the green light to go through with his plan. Luke again gets help from his friends like R2 and Lando, and while they're always there for him, he does the same and delivers tenfold. Luke displays what the legendary Jedi are capable of, as with the weapon of a Jedi Knight, he's able to single-handedly turn the tide and save the day, making one man feel like 100. When Luke's weapon ignites, we get to see that he indeed has constructed his own new lightsaber, one that's unique and worthy to him, as a Jedi constructing their own lightsaber is an integral part of their ability to discover themselves. Like Obi-Wan once said, this weapon is your life. And now that he has forged one that he can call his own, he's born anew, this time as a classic hero of old, and a Jedi, someone who focuses on the Force. This is fitting for Luke as he's one to rely on his connection and spirit with the Force rather than his skills as a warrior in combat. Although, with that being said, he's still a formidable warrior, one that nearly takes down all of Jabba's henchmen on his own.
Get the gun! Point at the deck!
In the final moments of the Battle of the Great Pit of Carkoon, Luke and Leia have an escape that mirrors them crossing the chasm in the first Death Star. Again, this lets us see how far they've come, and how some things never change, as Luke to the audience is still seen as the knight in shining armor, there to rescue the princess from the evil monster.
Hey Luke, thanks. Thanks for coming after me. Now I owe you one.
Luke has finally saved Han not only from Jabba and death, but also, in a greater sense, from himself, as we see the effect Luke has had on Han as he changed as a person for the better.
I have a promise to keep. An old friend.
Luke always makes good on his promises, as he now traverses to Dagobah to keep his word, complete his training, and tie up some loose ends.
That face you make. Look, I so old to young eyes.
Yoda's age is beginning to show, and it's a reminder that we're all only here for a limited time. To a younger person, it seems like forever, but Yoda remembers being in Luke's position once before.
No, of course not.
I do. Yes, I do.
Luke attempts to lie to him, but Yoda knows better. Luke may not realize it, but he's still young and well on the early parts of his journey in life, and that he may still look at life as a big adventure with no conclusion, rather than a full story that has a beginning and an end.
When 900 years old you reach, look as good you will not.
While Luke may be saddened by the idea of Yoda's inevitable death, Yoda reminds him the importance of one's mindset and spirit, choosing to be positive and joyful, or simply remaining young at heart.
Soon will I rest. Yes. Forever sleep. Earned it I have.
Luke here sees in Yoda how to embrace death head on and show no fear. This would be something that would prove to be vital at the end of the film, as he would take on the Emperor in his throne room, fully planning on dying in the attempt to save his father.
Master Yoda, you can't die.
Strong am I with the Force, but not that strong. Twilight is upon me, and soon night must fall. That is the way of things.
A reminder to Luke of a key difference between the Jedi and Sith, as the Sith live their lives in fear of death, and the Jedi live unafraid of it until the end, and can become immortalized through the Force.
No more training do you require. Already know you that which you need.
Then I am a Jedi.
Not yet.
At least Luke gave Yoda one last good laugh, but really, this is again the recurring theme of earning the title of a Jedi.
You must confront Vader. Then, only then, a Jedi will you be.
Luke's final test is not necessarily to defeat Vader, but to confront him and make the right choice yet again, to not give in to temptation and show compassion and bravery when things are at their worst. If Luke doesn't give in to his fear, anger, and hatred when confronting Vader, and conquers them instead, then a Jedi he will be.
Is Darth Vader my father?
Rest I need. Yes. Rest.
Yoda's really trying to die on Luke to avoid this question, isn't he?
Yoda, I must know.
Your father is. Told you, did he? Unexpected this is, and unfortunate.
Unfortunate that I know the truth.
No. Unfortunate that you rushed to face him. That incomplete was your training. Not ready for the burden were you.
And with this confirmation, Luke is shook. There was always a seed of doubt as the information came from Vader, but now it feels all the more real, and the weight of the burden only becomes heavier. So Yoda does what he can to give the young man guidance during his troubled time, and prepare him for what's to come.
Remember, a Jedi's strength flows from the Force, but beware. Anger, fear, aggression, the dark side are they. Once you start down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny.
Luke is reminded of the mantra of the Jedi, as his choices, in spite of his emotions, are what will define him. So he must be wary of the devilish man that embodies temptation, corruption, and manipulation.
Do not underestimate the powers of the Emperor, or suffer your father's fate. You will.
Not only should Luke worry about being outmatched with his skills with the Force, but more importantly, with the Emperor's powers of persuasion, as he essentially killed the good man that was once Anakin. and trapped him in the persona of Vader.
When gone am I, the last of the Jedi will you be? Pass on what you have learned.
With the eventual passing of his master, Luke has a great responsibility. As this wise lesson in life suggests, the lessons we learn and experiences we have only live on when we pass them down to others, with the hope that they can be better than what we ever were, continuing the circle of life with selfless teaching.
There is another
If the fate of the galaxy and the future of the Jedi wasn't enough for Luke to bear, he's also burdened with one final secret. Yoda then passes peacefully and transforms into the Force, leaving Luke with a little bit of knowledge, questions, and loneliness. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I had a ton of fun making this video, so if you enjoyed it too, then I highly suggest liking the video. And if you want to see more like it, then definitely hit subscribe. And if you want to be notified when the next character comes out, then hit the bell for notifications, or consider checking out my Patreon, where I'll be uploading videos there significantly sooner than on YouTube, so the next video should be available there as I speak, and the same will apply to the next parts when they come out. And on that note, I want to give a shout out to my patrons. Your support means everything to me. And finally, let me know in the comments which Star Wars character is the greatest Jedi and why. And who knows, they might be in the next one. Until next time, I am a Jedi, like my father before me.